the table there, and I was sure I was going to be upstage, so I better get in first. This is a cerulean warbler. 2 months ago, I guess it was, I came in with a lazuli bunting, which I had made into a finial for a lamp in our living room. Well, this is finial for another lamp. I guess there's nothing unique about it. I left it, it's a singing form, but I left the tongue out because this is going to get handled some. The tail is a bit thicker than normal. I saturated the tail and the bill with super glue for extra strength. And I guess other than that, nothing particular about the thing to report. I'm sure you're interested in the fact I got one more lamp to make a finial for.
We could get you a full-time job doing that.
What's that?
And we could get you a full-time job making finials all that.
Yeah.
Are they that chunky, that fat?
That's a little heavy for us, really. Yeah, it would be better if it were not so fat. I like robust looking birds. Yeah, it's larger. Yeah. The truth is, it was a blank I had laying around for the last 8 or 10 years. Geez, I got to do something with it. And I didn't cut it back.
Nice.
Did you paint that in acrylic? Was that acrylic paint?
Acrylics?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I got new hearing aids.
And I waited too long.
I got new hearing aids 2 weeks ago from the ZA, and they tell me they do everything but whistle Dixie, but I don't hear very well with them. This one is Tupelo.
It's Tupelo and what
And
kind of?
acrylics.
And what kind of acrylic paint are you using?
Which ones? Do you know which name?
Usually, most of them are Liquitex.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Liquitex will sometimes give you a glossy finish, but I got perhaps 3, maybe 4 coats of dull coat on this for extra protection, so I wasn't worried about that.
It's beautiful.
Brought in 2 birds. I remember I did the gunning bird project with ring bills. I was setting out to carve 60 of them. This is number 65.
Wow.
This is hollow white cedar, latex paint, Rust-Oleum, and I did something different with the painting. Now, the last couple times I've talked about, I've been carving them with the new extra coarse cut salt bit, and it leaves them pretty rough. And I have put a coat of very thin paint on them, let it soak in, and a second coat of a little heavier paint. Then I seal them. I coat them with transparent gesso, repaint, and then seal them. This one is sealed with Krylon matte finish. This one, same kind of treatment, but it's sealed with my secret sauce, which is, I've forgotten by now, tongue oil and Japan dryer and turpentine and half a cup of coffee.
Well, I don't do ring bills, but this is a ring neck duck. And I had a really nice hard piece of a nice hard piece of tupelo that I got from Woodcraft, and I really wanted to get rid of it. So here it is. So it's carved out of tupelo and it's painted in alkyd oils. And I really should do a little touching up on some of the transition areas here, but I don't know if I will. So, but I haven't done a ring neck duck for. Well, it's been a long time, so I just thought I'd do one while I'm waiting for the big fall.
Good Minnesota call it a ringbill.
Huh? Yeah, everybody calls them ring bills, but they are known as ring neck duck, you know, so.
Okay, this is a project that I brought in earlier in the year. Yeah, come on. But anyway, basically all tupelo, rocks, everything. I had a really nice, interesting piece of walnut that I was going to make a table out of, and I needed a base, so that's what this is from. The crayfish probably was the hardest thing of the whole thing. It took me about 2.5 weeks to get the legs right, get down and stuff. Somebody gave me a petrified one, and kind of used that as the model finally. But I had the pheasant tail also, but that got shipped out last Tuesday, so I wanted to bring that in too and show you guys. But this is the finished project.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Nicely done. How big do you think that event's weight-wise?
Probably 7 or 8. It's 23.5, 24 inches, so yeah, it's pretty thick.
This is the first decoy I ever carved, first hunting decoy. I carved for a year heads and decorative heads and sent them to the competition and did really well. And then Jet Renee said, you carve a really good head, Lori, but what about the rest of the duck? So that his challenge made me carve this decoy, and it was, you know, the first self-riding hunting decoy I ever carved. It's hollowed, head is hollow, the body's hollow, and it's carved from tupelo and painted in oils. And I used a sponge for the vermiculation instead of actually trying to paint on the vermiculations. And it won first place, best in show at the International Decoy Contest in 1986 in the professional division. So I had brought it without paint to the Minnesota Heritage Wildlife Heritage Festival at the Hilton, and I brought it in a canvas bag looking for an artist who would critique it for me, because I didn't know anyone who could critique it that would know what a redhead looked like. And I came across, at the very end, I came across an artist who was painting remarks on his prints, and his name is James Mager. I don't know if you know who he is. And I took it out and I said, you know, I have this decoy, and I kind of told him the story, and it was all white and gesso, and I said, I'd like to know what you think. Would you critique it for me? And he picks it up and he looks at it and he says, you know, I think that's a best in show bird. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. So I went home and painted it, and it ended up being the best in show bird. And I thought that was pretty cool that he could see that in the bird early. So
Who said that? Maker?
James Mager. We became friends after that.
Yeah.
So he followed me and helped me out when I was, referred me to my bronze foundry where I have all my bronzes cast in Howard Lake, Minnesota, and was very encouraging in the early parts of my career. So anyway.
How did you go about hauling up the head? What do you?
Well, it is a two-piece bird, and I just took it and I drilled with a Forstner bit up into the head, and then I carved out as much as I could with it was a flex shaft drill.
How much the material did you leave on the sides? 1/4 inch?
I'd say about half an inch. And it might be a little thin.
Yeah.
It's pretty light. The weight is really in the